Hey Capricorn, welcome to your February reading. Okay. The cards have landed weirdly. I just need to figure out which ones. That's first. Okay, then that one. And then that one. Okay. So anyway, welcome to your February reading for this whole month. Your cards are definitely doing some weird things right now. I am using the Practical Magical Oracle as well as Lucy Cavendish's Shapeshifter Oracle, which is one of my favorites. As both of them are one of my favorites, actually. Each of my favorites. Yeah, we're using these for the month. So we are in February, which means we do have a lot of love influence in our readings, relationships, those kind of things, because we do have Valentine's. That one goes there. The next one's going to go here. So as you may know if you followed me previously, that I read intuitively, and that goes with how I lay the cards as well. It just, as I'm pulling, they sort of tell me where they need to go. Okay, one more. That one separate. Okay, let's jump right in, Capricorn. Let's see what's in store for you. So this first card is generally where you are, the energy you're in, or what you're working with during this time that's kind of impacting you on a very personal level. On a deep level, follow your dreams. Okay, so I do feel like your mindset as a whole is kind of like reorganizing yourself, kind of readjusting to what is it that I want, where do I want to go, and reprioritizing. I do think maybe your dreams have shifted, sort of things coming into your realization. I feel like you kind of, the beginning of this year, you've been forced to readdress things to be like, am I on the right path to where I want to be, or was I plodding along, surviving? And I feel like you're coming out of survival mode and no longer wanting to survive, you're wanting to live. And this to me feels like it's a time where you are starting to open up to that prospect and you starting to follow your dreams and work towards that. And I do get this sense of you no longer sitting around waiting for things to happen to you, getting into this sense of we're going to make things happen. This crossing energy is Orca Magic. Akashic Libraries open. This is really about, again, following your purpose, following your dreams. Both of these cards represent, being in alignment with the self, with who you are and where you want to be right now. I do get this reshift of focus and you really focusing on what you want and desire, letting all the noise sort of drift away. I do think that there's decisions for you to make. I kind of feel like you've got, it's like, do I go this way or do I go that way kind of thinking. And I think that that's the point, is you're at this space where you are starting to realize that maybe what you have, is it what you want? In the sense of, if I don't change anything right now, am I happy with the trajectory of where this is going? Or do I need to change it to suit my dreams, suit where I want to be? Emotional strength is what this crosses over into, the two underneath cards. So the crossing energy is the Akashic records. That's kind of saying like life purpose, direction, what is meant to be. So I do feel like your focus is on just that, on what's meant to be for you. So emotional strength comes with realizing to trust in how we're feeling to direct us in the right way. So again, if you are starting to question things, this is yourself bringing this into your awareness so that you can make decisions based on this. I do think that it can be causing a little bit of chaos in your mind because I feel like you just want to be comfortable. I think that has been your natural instinct is of self-protection, is to just do what brings that initial comfort and security, trying to grasp at security. And the thing is, when we start grasping at security and doing those things that put us into this just comfort zone, we actually settle. We settle for less. We settle for what is necessarily healthy for us. And there's a purpose for it initially. It's about, just nurturing yourself and giving yourself what feels, again, gives us that a level of security to start healing within our surrounds, right? Sometimes the best decisions we make for ourselves is to just relax into what naturally flows us into a state of security. And I think that because you've done that for such a time, this is sort of saying, any even inkling or ounce of change can be a little bit disruptive to that feel of security. But you do have to start leaning to trusting with how you feel, because again, feelings and emotions are another sense of ours that we can use to our benefit to guide us. When we don't use that, we end up again going off track on where we want to be and where we need to be. Now, the crossing energy with this one, you have 2 crossing energies with this card. So again, you have life purpose taking on that, and then you belong. You are more than enough, and you belong in this world. You belong in your world. You belong in the sense of, if you are starting to think that, well, like, maybe I'm not meant to have what I want to have. No, you do. You belong, and you are worthy, and this is your space for you to embody everything that you are and everything that you want. With this card, there's also supportive energies around you, but it's about knowing what to be loyal to, and whether you are just choosing to be loyal to something that has helped you through. And I kind of think that naturally as humans we get a little bit tangled, especially as earth signs. Loyalty is a really big thing of an earth sign, because it's kind of ingrained into us in our morals, in our respect for people. When people help us out, we feel like we owe them something. But the thing is, like, we are worthy to be helped out without us having to pay through the teeth for it. So just because, again, somebody has been there with you through the hardest of times doesn't mean that that energy is right for you in the long term. And sometimes I touched on this in my last reading with Sagittarius. So if you have Sagittarius in your chart, check that out as well, because it could be a similar energy that's influencing you stronger because you have both influences. But it's kind of like saying, just because something is right for you in that time of your life during that moment doesn't mean it's forever. And as humans, we kind of get so caught up in the fairy tale that's been drilled in us since being born, that the happy ever after. So the second you've got a person, that's your person for life, and then there's no other change. And that is just unhealthy to have that expectation. Yes, it's good to go in and to commit and to have loyalty and to respect one another, but respect comes at that in that understanding that sometimes you're not the right best thing for the person that you love, or they're not the right thing for you, but they were, and you were at that time. You both had that energy that helped you through those moments. Doesn't mean that you have to be loyal with it as it becomes harmful, as it becomes just not right for you anymore. And I think when we get into that awareness that, you know, those energies were right for each other in that moment, but again, we don't have to commit to something on such a deep level that it really takes us away from our entire life, like takes away your choices because you are stuck in a resolve into something that's just not meant for you. Again, that does inevitably lead to destruction down the line. So we need to be shaping the way that we think, the way that we view things. Loyalty also comes in ways of making the best choices for others. I do feel like for myself, I have had to make the hard choices at stages in my life, because another person won't. Because again, being such a loyal person, if you've got 2 very loyal people to each other, it's really hard for someone to have to be that hard, be the one that makes their choices, right? Next, and this is crossing in the You Belong card, is influencing this as well. Each of these are influenced by several things, actually, of the way that this has pulled out. Your whole entire top row kind of has one major influencing 2 different dynamics, which is interesting. You have ground yourself. So again, living in the moment and being present. If you do feel like your emotions are making you feel uneasy, realize who you are and where you are in this moment. And actually, as I said, realize who you are. That is kind of essential. That really sort of held on strong to me. Of like, realize who you are. Like, you've come this far, you've gone through so much. When are the times where you've truly felt proud of yourself? This is that energy that I feel you need to hold on to. Like, you belong where you are, but you will be all right. It's all right to be alone. Here we go. That's crazy. So this is the crossing energy of it's all right to be alone. I'm laughing because in my mind, I get this feeling of relationships, of being loyal to somebody. Have you gone through hard times and someone standing by you, right? I didn't really know whether this was something I needed to say until I've just come to this, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's why I'm feeling this way. It totally needs to be said right now. Of you realizing that you have everything that you need, so that if you need to take a moment to be independent, to discover the self on a different level, perhaps you've always jumped in from relationship to relationship because, again, you have this thing in you that needs to heal, of abandonment or just not being fully trusting of the self, of knowing that you can and are capable of taking care of yourself in all aspects, including the emotional strength that you need to just be a human being. Because often, and again, I've totally been there. I'm in a time in my life where I'm much more independent now, and I'm very proud of myself because I just never really gave myself the opportunity to push myself independently. I always kind of felt like, because I'm ruled by Venus, I'm a Taurus, so I'm ruled by Venus, and love and relationships take my focus away, because I'm just all about that love, all about that relationships and stuff. It's been a very hard journey for myself to realize that I need to take myself away from that, to give myself that love, to that trust, and to show that I can do it, and what I can achieve when I do allow myself that grace. And what I have achieved for myself is I have learnt to drive, I have moved home, I'm raising my children alone. I've done all these things by myself that really society tells us that we need other people to. I totally think we should have other people. We should have a community. There should be support. There should at least be 2 people raising children. There should be at least people in your life guiding you and supporting you. That is essential. However, it's not essential to your well-being. You can exist in a place where, if you have to take on things alone, that you're comfortable to do that because you know and trust in yourself. And I think that you're on this journey of understanding that. So it's all right to be alone. So if relationships are breaking down, again, the loyalty doesn't need to rely on somebody who helped you through something once, because again, yeah, you probably offered a lot that they needed during that time too. And we have to realize that an exchange of energy isn't one way. You don't owe somebody your life because they helped you through a tough time. Someone needs to say it, and I'm saying it. The next card, again, that it's all right to be alone, crosses into this step up. It's everything I was just saying. It's time for you to step up into your own and be a leader. I think that, again, you've allowed someone else to take control, and it's now time for you to start taking control. Now, the crossing energy with this is change is natural and good, but yes, it can hurt. So if you are ending relationships, or even making changes in relationships that just cause a little bit of dynamic change, realize that it might have some pain, kind of grieving wounds being opened. We have to sometimes take off the band-aid and let it have some fresh air. Like, this is a metaphor, right? But it's about really, sometimes we have to make the changes in our dynamics to allow these to actually heal, rather than just stay smothered and just, suffocating yourself through life. We have to be able to breathe and really embrace all that is. Now you're being asked to step up into your own and become this leader. Let the passions that are you, I kind of want you to consider. I think that you've just not been yourself, not allowed you to shine. I think that you've been putting on some kind of falsehood. So look at relationships and think, have you been putting up a pretense because you're trying to put your best foot forward? Maybe that it's been a length of time where that's just starting to just take its toll on you, because we can't be faking it, this whole fake it till you make it bullshit. It's just not healthy. It's not going to bring you lifelong things, even in terms of work and any areas of your life. You can't keep faking it forever before it crashes down. And we see that around us are happening so much more lately, because we kind of got into this culture of faking it, that it's just the energies in the air are not allowing that to happen. It's bringing out the authentic. So yes, it may be a grievance time, but you don't have really heavy cards here so far. It is all saying, you belong. It's okay. Be independent. Change might feel a little bit painful, but it's in your best interest because it's natural and it's good. So I feel like this is something for you to nurture yourself through. Embody forgiveness is where this leads to. Now, embody forgiveness means it's time for you to let go of resentments. When we hold on to resentments and hatred or anything negative, it is only like a dagger to ourselves. We are literally hurting ourselves by keeping hold of these things. It is a hard process when we are so naturally inclined to thinking more negatively. Our brains are naturally designed to think of the negative as a self-protection. The thing is, you're not in danger. Being single is not a danger. Being in a relationship that's healthy is not a danger. So communicating, talking, even if it's arguing, that's communication. You're bringing things to the surface. Yes, it's not, and if you just stop arguing and staying in that energy, it's not productive. But again, you are communicating. You're not resenting and shoving things down and hurting yourself. You are openly communicating and allowing the change to happen that comes with that. Now, embodying forgiveness is allowing yourself to understand yourself on such a level. I feel like you are going through this, Capricorn, of coming into an understanding. It might be being forced upon you if you are very stubborn to this. Again, we're earth signs, we're stubborn, right? So this could be a natural thing that would go. It's hard for us because if you've been stuck in such a natural way, and I think that there's been a lot of struggles over the last few years, so it would make sense to be in that kind of struggling through things a little bit when it comes to having to look at yourself at a different light, because sometimes some people don't look objectively, and I'm not used to that because I do look at myself through different lenses all the time, because I am all about self-awareness and trying to understand myself. It comes from a space of not feeling understood. I think I try and offer myself that blessing. And I feel like this is kind of where you're coming into this. And it's a wise moment. It feels like a lot of growth here. You have been through so much, and this has helped you see the world differently. So I think I want you to see the beauty in that. But again, embodying forgiveness is not it's not forgiving somebody for doing something that you feel is wrong. It's about acceptance more than anything, and forgiving yourself for how you may have acted during that time, not harboring any hard feelings anymore, letting them wash away from you. I think it's time for you to see whether or not you're holding on to things that happened how long ago, and whether or not that is serving you for a good intent, or if it is hindering you, if it is making you hold on to these fears. I would say go far back as childhood to see if that maybe, again, there are abandonment issues there based on how your parents raised you, whether or not that is in alignment with you anymore, and I think facing the truth with that as well through a very critical lens. I've been like, you know what, yeah, like this, I had to do this, I had to do that, and this has shaped me as an adult. But now you're an adult, so you are in charge of how you process things and how you deal with things. Whether or not you take charge is a whole different story, but you're an adult, and only you can take responsibility for yourself. And as an adult, you do have to be responsible. You can't put the blame on other people, and you can't blame yourself. You just have to take responsibility, maybe take accountability for the self, and the self-understanding. You don't have to be out there loud and proud telling everyone that you're an a-hole, or you were an a-hole. You need to just take accountability and change. Maybe because change is influencing here, it's a good thing to have this change. I would say making the changes that are essential to you to relieve yourself of burdens and grievances, to again come into the whole. Embrace your shadow. The shadows are the parts of ourselves that are seen as more negative, or we might perceive as flaws and really bad things about ourselves, right? So again, this can be that we're not willing to, when this comes up, we're not willing to face those aspects of ourselves. And I feel like you are being told to this time. Right, it's time. So embrace your shadow is a balance. It's acceptance. It's accepting your whole, and realizing that at the end of the day, they're not weaknesses. When something is in excess, it's gonna show itself as a weakness. It's gonna be a weakness, because in excess, you need to balance, and it starts with accepting it and seeing it for what it is. We are able to release it of its power, of its hold on us, and I think it's time for you to embrace that side of yourself as being just a part of who you are, and it being a strength. Set boundaries. This has a crossing energy, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But set boundaries. It's time for you to protect your energy in the sense of stop allowing yourself to put up with things for the sake of something that you think that you want. Now, I feel like we can touch on the loyalty, what's sort of coming through to me. It's like being so loyal to something that you have no boundaries, because you're like, you know what, like this, I wanted that, right? So I'm just going to let it do what it wants to me. I'm just going to allow life to go however it goes, because it's the consequences to my loyalty. No. Set boundaries. Have goals and aspirations on what you want, and if it's not in alignment with it, it shifts, it changes, it leaves you, because again, you have your goals in sight, the dreams in sight. You know what you want, and I think that this comes with, again, I think that how this is coming through to me, it's like being in a wounded space where you have not allowed yourself the voice that you need to be. So people have been allowed to cross boundaries and make decisions for you. I actually, as I say that, I feel like maybe other people are making decisions for you, because again, you just thought, you know what, I give up. I'm just going to let it happen. You're not in that era now. You are healing. You're coming to a space where you are able again to be stronger. And it's about really saying enough is enough, and again, taking accountability. I think it's like I need to start making my own choices and my own decisions, and having those boundaries in place. I feel as though with this, that on the other side of this, that if it's a relationship wise, they want you to have boundaries. I just think that they just don't see you as a person who is capable. And I actually feel with this shadow aspect, I feel like actually if you have a partner and things are a little bit chaotic, it's because they don't see you as the strength you are. The way what you've given them is basically you can't handle anything, so they're going to have to, which means they've been more dominant in this. And I feel like that's not naturally you, Capricorn. You are a very dominant energy. So while you can are very good team players, are very good partners, you can often get so stuck in the grind that you don't necessarily have a place in your relationships as much as you are just participating in them. So again, we have to realize that a partnership is team effort, so it comes on equal footing. So if you are again making somebody else be more of the dominant in this because you are just flowing in it, that's creating an imbalance in this partnership. So again, it's not a partnership, it's more of I would say the way of looking at it is on a very simple level. It's more like a parent-child relationship. Yeah, a co-dependent relationship is what I mean by that. And whether that's in favor of you being more dominant or them being more dominant, however that looks for you, I am seeing the more latter coming through in this more stronger. Maybe you have taken more of a codependency. You rely on them for a lot of things, which is not going to be helpful. Now with these boundaries, so with you raising your throat chakra and communicating and just becoming a more stronger version of yourself and applying that into the areas where you are aspiring, it'll be revealed to you whether or not the people are trustworthy. So again, I can use myself as an example of this, right? So when my marriage was coming to an end, I was just going through things for myself that I didn't realize why. I went into like a massive burnout. So I think I was just overwhelmed by life and responsibilities and the way that my dynamic was going. But I didn't realize, and it was kind of like just a random blowout of like, oh my God, I need some space. And I created this change by communicating it as best I could at the time. Was it perfect communication? No, because I wasn't capable of that. I just didn't understand why I was feeling the way I was feeling. But again, something happened that just made it. It's one of those things that in life, it was like this massive change that just happened like this, right? So a change happened. Now, I didn't know where that was going to take me. It wasn't that I was seeing an ending or anything like that. It was just that all of a sudden I'm realizing that I can't make decisions on things and something is not right and I don't know what's wrong. So my reactions, my initial whatever that created this shock, created the reaction of the person, of my partner at the time, and how they acted showed me what I needed to see. It obviously showed that I wasn't supported, that really my needs were not even into consideration during that time. This is just my experience in it, on how it worked for me in terms of energy. It created a change that showed me whether or not like my partner was trustworthy in the way that I needed to feel secure, in the way that I needed to be shown that, this is just not right for me. It was a lot harder than that, and a lot of deep stuff, a lot of hardships came from that moment, in the moment. But in hindsight now, looking past, it just showed me that person was not able to be the person that I needed them to be at the time, because I was very vulnerable and I stayed in that space for a long time based on the fallout for that. But my action of creating a change within that revealed to me, showed me who I can trust. And it did actually showed me who I can trust in general in life. That was a major thing. And that's the thing, that sometimes being shown who you can trust can really reveal that there's next to nobody, and it opens other wounds. When these things are happening, it is actually a good thing for ourselves, as hard and horrible as it feels, because it helps us to start healing wounds that we didn't know we had. Like I said, for myself, I was in this state where I just didn't know anything, and it revealed so much. So it is your time to express your heart and to reveal what it is that is your true essence. I feel like there's been a lot of false pretense somewhere in this, and I don't know whether, I think that actually I was going to say I don't know whether it's with yourself, but as I say that, it was like, yeah, it is. It's more to do with yourself, and I think that you need a higher not that you need a higher, you need to access a higher understanding of the self. So I do think it is time to take time to yourself. No, I'm not necessarily telling you to end relationships. That's not it. It's about creating changes which will help you to seek what is in your best interest in areas of your life. Specifically, relationships is coming through strong in this, but it's not necessarily. It could be the relationships with friendships, family, or again with your areas in career or any area of your life where you questioning during this time. I feel like there's growth there and a lot for you to learn, but again, it comes from you being authentic and expressing your desires and your needs during this time. I feel like it's time for you to start participating. True to you comes up, so in whole true form, be yourself. True to you is saying it's time to be true to you. I do get this sense, so with this card, I'll show you, it takes the light from my face, but there's the card. She's looking over her shoulder, and it's kind of like for you, specifically with this card, it's glancing back and assessing, and just accepting yourself within this, seeing yourself through this. You need some space in a relationship. Okay, that's pretty much what I said in this whole thing. Look, I'm not lying. It says Beauty and the Beast. You need some space in your relationships, or in a relationship, sorry. So I'm not making this up. So everything I'm saying has just come through in one card. It is time for you to distance yourself from something. I would say, assessing your relationship seems to be the key here. But again, I feel like you need to be in alignment with yourself. Be honest with yourself. With this card being literally this energy that's impacting this, I think you need to see your relationship for what it is, and if that is right for you. If it's not, again, it's not necessarily that the relationship consent. It's saying you need some space in a relationship, which means you need to, again, speak your truth, be who you are, and communicate, and you'll be shown whether or not that person is strong enough to be the person you need. It's not about strength. Like, we're not saying that the person you're always weak. It's more about how the energy works together, how your person interacts with you, and whether or not they're right for you. And sometimes by saying, hey, I think I need some space, and I think that's triggering you, me saying that, I think I need some space. That's the point, right? If we are triggering something within you, this is what needs to be seen, witnessed, experienced. It will reveal to you whether or not you are where you need to be, or what needs to change, at least what needs addressing. Like, when something comes up in a relationship, it's not about, oh, this is not right for me, so it has to end. It's whether that person can make the changes that you need, give you what you need, respect your wishes, and if all of that is yes, that's your person. It's just, you're going through something, and that's perfectly acceptable too. But to me, it is a time for your independence and for you to be saying what it is you need, and if it's not being met, make the decisions you need. It's time for you to become a great leader. Elizabeth and the Lion. This is the Strength card, and again, we have embrace your shadows and embody forgiveness. These are all saying it's time for you to come into your leadership role and take charge. Stop letting other people make decisions for you. Stop making other people make decisions for you, because I feel like you are a dominant energy. So if anyone's doing something for you, it's because you are allowing that or demanding that. You are not codependent. If you are, you are, but you are not. This is what you're telling yourself. You are not codependent. You are an independent being. You are an individual, and you need to be in your space right now. So there you go, Capricorn. Thank you so much for being here. This is a very interesting reading. I wish you all the best. Please follow and subscribe to keep up to date with your monthly readings, and I'll see you next month. Thank you, guys.